All right, we're live, Mick. Go ahead, buddy.
Welcome to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. The show is presented by Yuengling Lager. That's America's oldest brewery. And for the next 2 hours, we're going to preview Alabama and Ole Miss, along with the rest of the SEC slate. We'll have Leonard's Loser come on, and we'll talk about our picks with Lance Taylor from Jocks Radio in Birmingham. That's brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Be a great time to be there right now to make your picks. We'll have the Mick and Brick beer review, and it's going to be a really fun 2 hours. There's so much to talk about. I'm Mick Gillispie, and it is just a pleasure to talk Alabama football with my partner here, Kyle Henderson. Kyle is the managing editor of the Alabama rival site, BamaInsider. He's an expert on the Crimson Tide program, and here we are. This is the last time I'm going to be in the home studio the rest of the regular season. Kyle, you're in the home studio right now. Bama's going to be in Ole Miss. We got a hurricane out there. We got COVID. We got all this other stuff, and we got football too.
And you know what, Mick? We also got our intro. So do you want to run the intro of our show? We'll kind of do a little bit of reverse, but we got to have the show intro, man. We got to hook up, kind of start it off. Is it cool if we hit?
Yeah, do it, man. Go ahead.
Right, go. Stick around. We'll be right back. We'll kick the show off. So here's the show intro for the Bama Insider Tailgate.
The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is on the air. Alabama football is rolling, and we got you covered with a breakdown of the game matchup, an SEC preview, and all the fun of an afternoon on the quad with Rivals Bama Insider managing editor Kyle Henderson and former Crimson Tide Sports Network broadcaster and SEC Network play-by-play voice Mick Gillispie. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is brought to you by Yuengling Lager, Yuengling, America's oldest brewery. Pearl River Resort Casino and Hotel in Choctaw, Mississippi. Let's play. Bama Buggy, best price, best selection, best service. Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Hyundai, the longer you look, the more there is to like. Rounders on the Strip. Vegas-style bar with the best rooftop in Tuscaloosa. Allstate agent Andrew Knifer. You're in good hands with Allstate. Innisfree, an Alabama Irish pub tradition. Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports. Not too small, not too big. Tuscaloosa is pronounced just right. NewLifeArt.com, publisher of fine art editions by Daniel A. Moore. Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. And R&R Cigar in downtown Tuscaloosa, home of the Victory Cigar. And now, here are Kyle and Mick.
Hey, what do you say, everybody? Welcome to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. It is a pleasure to have you with us tonight. The show's presented by Yuengling Lager. That's America's oldest brewery. And for the next 2 hours, we're going to preview Alabama at Ole Miss. That's going to be Saban against Kiffin. We'll also have a look at the rest of the SEC slate. We've got Leonard's Loser coming on, going old school with you on the predictions for this weekend's games. We'll have Lance Taylor from Jocks Radio in Birmingham. Lance's Locks, man, this guy is a sharp. He's going to talk about, maybe help us a little bit, pick our games. We do that in the Pearl River Resort odds segment. That's later on in the show. We'll have a Mick and Brick beer review. And I mean, this is a variety show of tailgating fun, and we're really glad to have you with us. I'm Mick Gillispie. I'm teaming up with one of the best in the business, a guy that I've really grown to love and appreciate. I'm talking about my main man, Kyle Henderson. Kyle is the managing editor of the Alabama rival site, BamaInsider. He's an expert on the Alabama program, and he's really fun to hang out with. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? Thank you very much to everybody who's watching. We really appreciate you guys giving us our time, tonight and being with us here on the Tailgate Show. We got a lot to talk about. It's Kiffin, it's Nick Saban, so much going into the college football season. We've already talked about Mac Jones' hot start. Go read the article today written by Tony Tsoukalas, who's going to be here in just a few minutes to talk about Mac Jones and his impressive start going into this rainy game against Ole Miss. I can't wait to talk more about Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban. The time is finally here, and it's Nick Saban versus all these former assistants. We're going to get it. And of course, it starts with another assistant this week in Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, and he's 20-0 against those assistants, right? So he's going to try to make it 21-0. Let me lay out a couple things for you guys. If you're watching right now, 6 to 8 on Friday nights, this is when we record the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. It's on YouTube TV, on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. 9 to 11, we're on Jocks 2 every Saturday morning. That's 100.5 in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and the surrounding areas. And then we also have the podcast available for you guys, so you can check out the show while you're doing other stuff. The podcast will be available, Apple Podcasts, and all you got to do is go to Bama Insider. It's there, and you can check it out. All right, look, Kyle, this is talking about a weird relationship, Saban and Kiffin, right? But can 2020 get any weirder? So we had COVID, the season didn't start on time. Now we're only playing SEC games, which honestly has actually been pretty good. But now Hurricane Delta, which this is the worst hurricane season that we've ever had, right? Because we've gone through all the names of hurricanes, and now we're in the second alphabet, and this one's hitting us right now as we speak. They moved the game time.
Yeah, I mean, weather's obviously going to play a role in this game, but as Landon Dickerson said, he's Alabama's center, and he said this. He was like, look, I'm not a meteorologist, and I know someone just asked me for the weather report right here on our show. I'm not a meteorologist either, right? But we do know it's going to rain. We do know that it's going to rain during this game. How is that going to affect Alabama? They practiced with a wet ball all this week. In my opinion, I think a wet ball is actually, it's not a problem. I think when you have wind and you have some of these other elements, that's going to affect the gameplay. But I think if Alabama really needs to go ground heavy, which they really haven't had to do because Mac Jones has been so successful, they can do it. People have been asking, where's the running game at? You could see that coming up against Ole Miss. Najee Harris, watch for him to continue his campaign. The way Brian Robinson ran against Texas A&M, he actually led the team with 60 yards, graded out as one of the higher players on the offensive side. So you have one of the top tandems in college football, the running back position, and I think you see a running game flex here in week 2 against Ole Miss.
Well, look, Alabama's rolling as you guys listen or watch to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show on Jocks 2 Radio in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, or on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. They're rolling, okay? They took care of Missouri. 38-19 really didn't reflect that game. Alabama dominated. And then here comes Texas A&M, again ranked in the top 15, coming to town, looking to do some damage, and Alabama just mauled them last week to the tune of 52-14. No, 52-24. I shorted them some points, but at the end of the day, Kyle, it was just an absolute beatdown. So Alabama's rolling going into this game. Yeah,
and one key stat that I look at from last week's game, and a lot of people are quick to criticize Pete Golding. It's like every single thing that happens, it's Pete Golding, right? Well, let's slow down a little bit. Let's let kind of the season sink in before we start making those type of observations, because I have an observation for everybody. Alabama scored 52 points in just 22 minutes against Texas A&M. What are you going to tell Jalen Waddle or John Mechie to run out of bounds? I mean, those guys are scoring almost at will, and Mac Jones has been able to deliver that football, whether it's across the middle of the field, down the field. He's been very successful. And I think a lot of that comes from the continuity of Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator, coming back for a second year. This is something that Saban hasn't had before. But I think if Alabama has to control possession, I think if they have to run the football, which they're going to against Ole Miss, and people are running against Ole Miss, let's face it. I mean, look at the stats, right? Mm-hmm. They can do just that. So just be patient. But I think if Alabama needs to control the football, you're going to see lower point total. And this is a different age of college football, right? People are scoring a lot of points, and now 24 points against the number 13 team in the country. I mean, in the old days of college football, that's, a 7-point game, but or Alabama wins by 3 touchdowns. But I'm saying Texas A&M maybe scores a touchdown. This is new age college football, and Alabama is putting up points almost at will.
So let's reflect back on this Alabama team. I mean, the offense and the defense after the win from last week. I mean, you kind of touched on the defense, and people were a little bit worried that maybe the defense wasn't as good as it could be. I thought that they got a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and I kind of felt like that Dylan Moses is going to get better as the season goes on. I mean, like, this is the first time that he's played in a long time, back-to-back games, right? But Christian Harris has been great. Jordan Battle's been great. The Malachi Moore, I mean, everybody's talking about this freshman that's out there and what he's been able to do. Your reflections on the defense first, and then we'll kind of circle back to the offense, which is as good as advertised or even better.
Well, I think in the early sample size, the defense has done a good job. I think they've done what they're supposed to do, and that's helped the offense win football games, right? Christian Harris, you look right here on the screen, and if you're listening on radio, he has 16 total tackles, which leads the team. And then right behind him, you have Jordan Battle has 15 tackles. What do those guys both have in common? They're second-year players at Alabama. You have Daniel Wright. Yeah, he was responsible for that 47-yard touchdown. He should have laid the wood into that guy, but then he also made up with a 47-yard interception return. I think the secondary will continue to get tested, and they're going to get tested against Matt Corral. Maybe not because of the weather. It's not supposed to be, a lot of rain. So maybe we're going to see some of that Ole Miss running game, whatever they have. But I think the defense overall has done a good job through 2 games. Now, it's going to be a gauntlet as we continue to talk about, because it's a SEC. And you look at all these quarterbacks that are in the SEC, it's going to be difficult for the defense to keep teams off the board, but Alabama's offense doing such a good job.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of where college football is right now, as I'm Mick Gillispie with Kyle Henderson, and you're watching on BamaInsider.com YouTube or listening on Jocks Radio to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show as we get you ready for Alabama and Ole Miss. You're watching this Alabama program that was always known for defense now become one of the offensive powerhouses in the country. And this has been a consistent thing. And as they play Ole Miss, I got to give Lane Kiffin some credit, because there was a transformation made when he took over as offensive coordinator. But they've just kept this thing rolling. And last week with 52 points was a great example of that.
Yeah, I mean, you've totally seen the offense transform over the last couple of years. Tua Tagovailoa did such a great job distributing the football to his very talented receivers, and Mac Jones has continued that lineage, for the end of last season and going into this season. I mean, this guy played through the roof in the Citrus Bowl, and you've seen him come on really strong in these first 2 games of the season. Right now, I mean, look what Mac Jones has done: 38 of 51, 684 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. I think Matt Corral from Ole Miss is actually just has better numbers than that, which is pretty remarkable. So you look at kind of the distribution. A lot of that comes from Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, and having that type of potency on the outside has allowed Alabama to put up a lot of points. The spread on this game is, I think it's still 23, maybe a little bit more. I'm curious to see who takes that, considering the rain, and maybe we do have an updated take, and maybe we'll get some more from Lance on that later on. But that's a big point spread considering the weather, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later on in our pick segment.
All right, look, we got a minute, but I got to ask you this question. Is the West weaker than the East for the first time since Steve Spurrier and Philip Fulmer?
I mean, possibly, but you still have Alabama, in the West. So as long as Alabama's there, the king is still in the room, right? And yes, Georgia and Alabama will have their time, maybe multiple times this year, but the king is still Alabama until they are dethroned. And I think right now Alabama is still flexing in the SEC.
All right, guys, let me tell you that the Bama Insider Tailgate Show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. That's a casino in Choctaw, Mississippi, in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And now's a great time to make your picks count at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sportsbook. I mean, it's so fun over there. You get to hang out. You can make your picks legally. They've got all the games on television. Later on in the show, we're going to give you our picks and see how we do. We got a lot more to come up on the show, but this is all about Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban. I know they're the head coaches, but there's just a complicated relationship. Tony Tsoukalas, who's our beat writer for Alabama football, joins Kyle and I when we come back. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show coming up.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Genesis of Tuscaloosa, Alabama's first Genesis dealer, is a proud sponsor of Crimson Tide football and pleased to announce another first, the all-new 2021 GV80, the newest luxury SUV from Genesis, arriving soon. Be first to call and reserve your spot to experience the new standard of luxury in Tuscaloosa, the all-new 2021 Genesis GV80. See our full luxury lineup at Genesis of Tuscaloosa, the corner of Skyland and Hargrove, genesisoftuscaloosa.com.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, football is fine art. Now at newlifeart.com, see Daniel A. Moore's new 2021 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring 13 dynamic images of defining moments from the Saban era. As a special offer to listeners of this show, use coupon code ROLLTIDE for $5 off each calendar. To order yours, call 1-800-735-2787 or visit newlifeart.com today.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
Bama Buggies, proud to support the Crimson Tide, always a superstar lineup. And what a lineup at Bama Buggies, one of Alabama's largest volume power sports dealers, featuring the brands you love: Polaris, Sea-Doo, Slingshot, $54.99. All the fun you can stand, starting at just $54.99. The best seats in the outdoors on sale now. Bama Buggies on Skyland Boulevard East, BamaBuggies.com. Price plus tax. Discount off MSRP includes all manufacturer incentives, dealer discounts, and freight while supplies last. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
Get in on the action at Pearl River Resort. New members get $50 of free play on us. Or if you haven't played with us since 2018, we're inviting you to come back and play. $50 on us. See Players Club for details.
Where's our sports fans? Place your bets now at the Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. From the first pitch to the final down, the toss-up to the knockout, and everything in between, we'll keep you in action all season long. Play, win, repeat. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casino's Pearl River Resort properties.
Hey fam, this is Kyle Henderson with BamaInsider.com, reminding you to join Mick Gillispie and me right after the game on the Bama Insider YouTube channel for the Bama Insider postgame show. We'll break down the game with instant analysis, have Nick Saban's press conference, and take your calls and comments. That's the Bama Insider postgame show right after Alabama plays on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. See you there. Please join us tonight for the Bama Insider postgame show on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Roll Tide, roll.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. It's brought to you by Yingling Lager. Look at this right here, some swag for those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel. It's this bag that the Yingling folks send us for our remotes. It's really cool. We got shirts and we got bottle openers and we got stickers and all that stuff. Look, we're going to take that with us next week to Rounders on the Strip, and from 6 to 8 on Friday night, we're going to be there for the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. So we invite you to come by and hang out with us, drink a cold Yingling. Cheryl Yingling, her dad is Dick Yingling, been the president of the company for years. They're sixth-generation family that owns this brewery, right? Cheryl could have gone to Penn State, which is where kind of everyone in the family went, but she decided to go to Alabama. And she's part of the ownership, and she puts a little bit of crimson love in each one of those green bottles. And she's one of our friends, and we're really glad to have her and Yingling on board the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. With Kyle Henderson, the managing editor of Bama Insider, the Rivals Alabama site. I'm Mick Gillispie. Great to have you with us as we talk Alabama and Ole Miss. And now we bring on the Bama Insider beat writer himself. There he is, Tony Tsoukalas. We're going to talk a little bit of Alabama and Ole Miss, Tony, a topic that you have wrote about this week, this showdown, and it's going to be this way as long as this guy's coaching at Ole Miss, is about Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin. But first off, how's it going, man?
It's going well. You got me all geared up for a Yingling beer, and I don't have one right now. I feel like that should be part of this show, right?
Look, next Friday, I can tell you where you can pick one up at.
All right, man. Yeah.
6 to 8.
Yeah.
Look, man, this is an interesting matchup. I mean, let's just kind of start up with Lane Kiffin at Tennessee, Alabama 2009. Tennessee just about beat Alabama, and I think if they had done it, thanks to Terrence Cody and a game that we know as Rocky Block, right? And for those of you that love those Daniel Moore prints, you can see the artist rendition of Big Mount Cody swatting that field goal out of the way. Lane Kiffin was inches as Maxwell Smart missed him by that much, right? They were that close to beating Alabama?
Yeah, I was actually at that game. I'm showing my age a little bit, but I was a student at that game.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. I thought you were going to tell me you were like in elementary school.
No. I was a student. That was my sophomore year. So yeah, that was fun. That was the loudest I've ever seen that stadium. People were hugging people they didn't know. Beers were flying. People were falling off. Down the bleachers. It was a fun time though. I remember on my walk back to the dorm, there's people jumping in the fountains and. It's pretty crazy.
And I got a couple funny stories. Like, first off, the guy that I do the beer review on this show that you'll see later on, Bricken, we were at the game together. We don't get to go a whole lot, but we went to this one together, and I had seats at the time that were like right behind the visiting band, like on the lower level. It was before I was doing the show. I was just a regular guy at the game, and we had a few bourbon drinks, and I just remember sitting there, and like in my mind, I never thought Tennessee was going to beat Alabama. And when they lined up for that game-winning field goal, Bricken looked at me and he goes, "You know what, man? I think you're underestimating this moment right now."
Right.
And I was, when they blocked the kick, it was amazing. So I was friends with, and I worked with a guy named Walt Sullins, right? And on the way out, I run into Walt Sullins and his parents. His two twin brothers were offensive linemen for Tennessee that day. So if you look at the picture of Rocky Block, you'll see Sullins on not one, but two of the jerseys that were on there. And I walk out and I see Walt, and but the reason I saw him is I saw his parents in Tennessee gear. They had the big buttons on. I didn't even read the button on there. They had a number, and I just said, that right there, guys, was one of the greatest games that we're ever going to see. And I'm glad that you guys came out for it, and I hope you had a good time. I'm all about being like the Alabama fan when I'm doing the fan thing, that everyone goes back and says, hey, these guys are awesome, man. It's a great experience. They love football. And then Walt taps me on the shoulder. He's like, hey, that's my mom and my dad. And they introduced me, and his brothers were out there. I'll never forget that game, man. That's one of the greatest games of all time. And Kiffin, of course, the reason why he lost is because we messed up the headsets. You remember that? He complained that we turned his headsets off. And then, he knew the officials were going to call a phantom penalty. That's the problem I have with Lane Kiffin.
I thought he played that very conservative. I think he had Alabama on the ropes in that specifics, and then he kind of settled for that field goal, and it was still a long field goal. Daniel Lincoln was having a hard time getting the ball up. And I felt like he could have probably gotten 10, 15 more yards. And then I think, maybe they make that kick. I thought he just really, that was a 44-yarder, I think. That's not a gimme field goal. I think, he had more time. And I remember, kind of watching him just sit on the clock and go for that last field goal. And it's kind of like, oh man, what a wasted opportunity. But, from an Alabama perspective, it worked out great. Maybe we'll see Kiffin's revenge a little bit, this week. Maybe he has something planned up his sleeve for maybe a comeback or a redemption with Nick Saban.
He's Tony Tsoukalas. I'm Mick Gillispie. This is the BamaInsider Tailgate Show, talking about Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin. Look, Saban saved Kiffin, right? He was embarrassed and, humiliated the way that USC fired him, left him on a tarmac. And then the Lane train came to Tuscaloosa, and it led Alabama to a national championship and an SEC title. They really should have won another one, but his exit from Alabama is kind of just typical Lane Kiffin. There's just, they're polars, right? Really good and really terrible. We saw them both.
Yeah, it's really hard when that's just kind of the way college football is now. When you get a job, it's so often these head coaching jobs, they happen in December, and it just kind of creates this weird conflict of interest. And, we've seen some coaches handle it pretty well. Jeremy Pruitt handled it pretty well. Kirby Smart, maybe not as well as Jeremy Pruitt did. But, I think with Kiffin, it didn't get handled well. And I think that ultimately, I think that led to a lot of frustration, but you can't forget the impact that Kiffin had on Alabama. I mean, look at this Alabama offense, and I know it's Sarkisian now, but he really opened up Alabama's offense. And I don't think there's a Tua without Lane Kiffin. And, I don't think there's a Jalen Hurts without Lane Kiffin. I think Alabama needed Lane to kind of open things up. And so he made his impact at Alabama. So as much as there might be some hostility for how it ended, you can't forget, what he gave Alabama, and he had a lot of success here. He's one of the better offensive coordinators in the Saban era.
Tell me something about Lane Kiffin in Alabama that I might not already know.
Geez, I mean, it's all out there, right? I mean, the stuff
like a trick question.
I don't know if I could tell you, but I just think that I probably think that there's this perceived notion that there's a lot of disrespect between the two. I think Lane Kiffin really respects Nick Saban. I think you look at his process now, I think it probably mirrors a little bit of what Nick Saban's doing, and they're never going to have that same personality, right? But I think that deep down, I think you've seen Lane kind of take some of Nick's ideals and his he's learned off of Nick. He's kind of sponged some things off. He'd be foolish not to. So maybe, outside of some obvious personality traits, maybe they're a little bit more similar than we're giving them credit for.
Well, I think that the year he led Alabama to an SEC title with Blake Sims was one of the best jobs that I saw an Alabama offensive coordinator ever have, and a team too, because I just didn't think that team was that good. And people used to argue with me about it. And I felt like one of the reasons why, as much as I loved Blake Sims and the way that he played the game, I just never thought he was that good of a quarterback. I thought he could have done a lot of other things, receive and maybe run the football. But you know what? The guy won an SEC title. I don't know if he does that without Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I mean, and Lane found a way to get Amari Cooper the ball, and that was a great recipe for success that season. So, yeah, I mean, he's done a lot. I mean, look at what Lane won with compared to what, I guess Sark's dealing with now. I think no offense to Jake Coker. I think Jake Coker's a good quarterback. I think Blake Sims was a great college quarterback. Those two guys, not as good as, as Tua, and it's looking like not as good as Mac either. So I mean, this recent run of just elite quarterbacks, these guys that probably go on to play in the NFL, that's a more recent trend, and I think that it's a lot easier to do what you're doing now than it maybe was when Kiffin tried to start it, and I think that's definitely for sure.
You can follow Tony Tsoukalas' work on the BamaInsider.com website. This guy's at every single game. He is our beat writer, and he's doing some great stuff. Tony, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man.
We'll do it again next week. All right, guys, look, the Bama Insider Tailgate Show is presented by Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Whether it's the Elantra, the Sonata, you want an SUV like the Tucson, you got to check out the Genesis over there. They got so many great things, and tailgating doesn't get any better than Tuscaloosa Hyundai. And I got to say this too, man. My buddy Barry, we call him Seabass. I know why. It's because this guy is the bass extraordinaire. He might run the place, but I'm telling you, what he really runs are these bass ponds by his house. We'll have to talk to him at some point. But go by and see Seabass and check out these cars. And I'm telling you, you're going to be absolutely impressed with Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's really, I was. You go down on Skyland Boulevard and go to their dealership. They got some awesome vehicles, and the pricing couldn't be any better. Look, Alabama is still number one in recruiting. They're number one in the recruiting standings, and they're trying to add to that. And when you're number one, you want the number one player in your state, right? Andrew Bone coming up. He's going to give us the update on a man that goes by the nickname of Kool-Aid. Yeah, Kool-Aid. He's the number one player in the state of Alabama. Are the Tide going to be able to reel him in? We'll talk to Andrew Bone about it. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show coming up.
Introducing Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Now available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling and Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Genesis of Tuscaloosa, Alabama's first Genesis dealer, is a proud sponsor of Crimson Tide football and pleased to announce another first, the all-new 2021 GV80, the newest luxury SUV from Genesis, arriving soon. Be first to call and reserve your spot to experience the new standard of luxury in Tuscaloosa, the all-new 2021 Genesis GV80. See our full luxury lineup at Genesis of Tuscaloosa, the corner of Skyland and Hargrove. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
R&R Cigars invites you to come down to the Cigar Mansion. Located in the historic Maxwell Mansion downtown, over 1,000 cigars and over 100 bourbons await you. The Cigar Mansion is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar, bourbon, and then watch the tide roll. Tell them the BamaInsider Tailgate Show sent you, and you'll get a cigar and an Angel's Envy bourbon for $10. You can't find a better place to relax and watch the game than the Cigar Mansion R&R Cigars. R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, by the Home 2 Suites.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines two of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Bama Buggies, proud to support the Crimson Tide, always a superstar lineup. And what a lineup at Bama Buggies, one of Alabama's largest volume power sports dealers featuring the brands you love. Polaris, Sea-Doo, Slingshot, $54.99. All the fun you can stand starting at just $54.99. The best seats in the outdoors on sale now. Bama Buggies on Skyland Boulevard East, BamaBuggies.com. Price plus tax. Discount off MSRP includes all manufacturer incentives, dealer discounts, and freight while supplies last. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
Get in on the action at Pearl River Resort. New members get $50 of free play on us. Or if you haven't played with us since 2018, we're inviting you to come back and play. $50 on us. See Players Club for details.
Where's our sports fans? Place your bets now at the Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. From the first pitch to the final down, the toss-up to the knockout, and everything in between, we'll keep you in action all season long. Play, win, repeat. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casino's Pearl River Resort properties.
Hey fam, this is Kyle Henderson with BamaInsider.com, reminding you to join Mick Gillispie and me right after the game on the Bama Insider YouTube channel for the Bama Insider postgame show. We'll break down the game with instant analysis, have Nick Saban's press conference, and take your calls and comments. That's the Bama Insider postgame show right after Alabama plays on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. See you there. Please join us tonight for the Bama Insider postgame show on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Roll Tide, roll.
Hey guys, this is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. We are brought to you by Bama Buggies. Bama Buggies is a touchdown for anyone looking for an ATV, a Sea-Doo, a motorcycle, or side-by-side. Hunting season is here, and Bama Buggies has you covered. Find out for yourself at BamaBuggies.com. With Kyle Henderson, the managing editor of BamaInsider.com. That's the Rivals Alabama site, by the way. I'm Mick Gillispie, and it's great to talk with Andrew Bone. We caught up with our recruiting expert earlier this week, and he had a lot to say, including where he thinks Kool-Aid, the number one player in the state of Alabama, is going to end up. You're the best in the business, my man, and I got to get to this right away because I know everyone's chomping at the bit, okay, about the number one player in the state of Alabama. He goes by Kool-Aid, and this guy is kind of down to his final decision. Let's talk about him.
Yeah, JaQuincy McKinstry, Kool-Aid, the top player in the state of Alabama from Penzance Valley High School, defensive back. Kind of plays on both sides of the ball. Also is an outstanding wide receiver, but recruited mainly to play in the defensive backfield. And he's had a top three for a while: Alabama, LSU, and Auburn. Those have kind of been his top three schools, and really kind of coming down to the wire here. And I feel like at one point or another, each school has kind of led for his recruitment. And, really for the last couple of months, we've all been talking about how, Auburn had all the momentum for him. And really over the course of the last, 4 or 5 days, it seems like the momentum has shifted into Alabama's favor. Now, I don't think he's informed any coaching staff of his decision yet. I think everybody's going to kind of find out here, when he announces that commitment. But there's a lot of buzz on Alabama, and everybody's wondering, what happened, what changed. Well, I think with Alabama already having obviously a lot of success, 2-0, great start to its season, and then the fact that I think Auburn didn't look too hot against Georgia the other night. I also think a trip down to Tuscaloosa may have swayed things a little bit. You can't visit in terms of going on campus and visiting with the coaching staff and touring the facilities and all that stuff right now because it's a recruiting dead period. The recruiting dead period recently been extended until January the 1st, but you can visit campuses. You can go on campus. You just can't visit with the coaching staff. I think a recent trip to Tuscaloosa may have helped Alabama's chances a little bit there. And like I said, final decision has not been made just yet. And even if he does commit to Alabama, you still have to worry about, will a school potentially, flip him on signing day? So it's something to continue to watch when he does make that decision. But I do think it comes down to the in-state schools. LSU, they have a couple of really young, stars at the defensive back position that I feel like, may end up pushing him to staying in state a little bit. But I do think, probably for the last, I would say 6 months, it certainly has felt like an in-state decision for him, and I do see him staying in state when he makes that decision on October the 25th.
Yeah, so Jackie White says, he wants to know about the momentum, and you kind of just answered that right there. Like you feel like Alabama's picking up a lot of momentum with him.
Yeah, I think so. And I think hey, Jackie, thank you so much for the tip. It means a lot. Really appreciate that. And, happy to answer your question about Kool-Aid. But I do think, the last couple months, Coach Saban, Coach Scott, cornerbacks coach have really done a great job of really pushing hard for Kool-Aid and making sure that he's a part of this recruiting class. He's been a very important piece of Alabama's class, in terms of getting him in this class for a long time. And I definitely think the momentum shifted in Auburn's favor for the last few months, but it seems to be turning back into Alabama's favor. And I think Alabama's got a great chance to land his commitment here in a couple weeks.
Here's one right here talking about all the fun stuff that Alabama has going on, and with recruiting, there's only 5 spots left, though, right?
Well, I think there's probably less than that. Alabama currently has 21 commitments. You can say 22 if you want to include Caden Clark, tight end from last year's class, but he actually gray shirted, so he's going to be a part of this year's recruiting class. So Alabama technically has 22 commitments in this class. I think they're certainly going to get to 25. I think the biggest question, will they get to 26? I don't see them getting to 27. I think that's just going to be too much. It's going to be kind of over the limit for Alabama. Maybe they get to 26, but as of right now, I certainly think they're going to get to 25. They're going to sign at least 3, maybe 4 more guys. And this is where it gets really interesting because there's so many players who are still out there. But so you have to kind of prioritize it. Who's it going to be? You really have to get at least 1 more defensive back, possibly 2. If they can get Kool-Aid and Terrion Arnold from Tallahassee, those are the 2 guys that they, have heavily recruited for a long time that I feel like, if both of those guys want to commit, they're going to take both of those guys. I definitely think they're going to try to take at least 1 more defensive lineman. There's some top defensive ends out there: Shamar Turner, JT Tuamola, Tumise Adelie. Those are certainly some guys that I think Alabama has a shot with. If you can get one of those guys, that's going to be a perfect scenario for Alabama. Then you got to have to look at Xavier Nsori, the linebacker out of IMG Academy, Brian Thomas, the wide receiver out of Louisiana. Those are some of the top names that are still out there that Alabama still is probably in the top 2 for it, at this point in their recruitment. I don't know what Alabama's going to do if both of those guys want to jump on board, because they have been priority targets for a long time, but the numbers are extremely tight right now. So Alabama's going to really have to try to figure out what they're going to be able to do in terms of fitting, those guys in this class.
Well, you figure they'll figure that out for, Nick Saban's always good at that. Frank wants to know who's an uncommitted must get this cycle, if there is one. Would you say that's Kool-Aid, or is it someone else?
Well, I certainly think it's a defensive back. They do have 3 defensive backs committed right now. 4 if you include Kane Williams. Yeah, I think Kane Williams can play defensive back or linebacker. He's 6'2", 210, 215 pounds right now, so could easily grow into a linebacker at the next level. So we'll kind of wait and see what happens there. But I certainly think that Alabama's got a great chance, to land at least one more defensive back in this class, with Terry Arnold, Kool-Aid, certainly right at the top of the list. But if they can get both of those guys, they're going to be very excited. I still think getting one more defensive end is a very important and critical position of need as well in this class.
How things looking for Shamar Turner? That's what Metcalf wants to know.
Yeah, with Shamar Turner, things are a little quiet. I mean, he has the top 5 with Alabama, Texas, Texas A&M, LSU, and Georgia. Now, he hasn't visited Georgia or LSU at this point, so many people would say, if he goes out of state, it's going to be Alabama. But many people are now starting to think it's going to be an in-state recruiting battle. And we've been talking about Shamar Turner for a very long time. He visited Alabama for junior day. There was a lot of buzz, kind of, I would say in July, August, that he was going to end up at Alabama, that they were in the driver's seat for him. I still think Alabama has a great chance with him. But, in terms of, not being able to visit schools, and being a Texas kid, being a top priority for Texas and Texas A&M, it seems more like an in-state recruiting battle at this time. But Texas, had just came off a big loss. Texas A&M just came off a big loss. We're going to continue to watch to kind of see how their season goes, and it could really affect his recruitment down the road. But he's not going to make a decision anytime soon, and that's probably the biggest thing for Alabama. Will he hold off until potentially signing day to make a commitment or a All-American game, and what's going to be the outcome of Texas and Texas A&M season?
Here's another super chat. It's from Hunter. He's wanting to know if the kids can do virtual visits and FaceTime with any coaches. And I guess that's a good question, because you said that they've really shut down a lot of the visiting right now.
Yeah, Hunter, thank you very much for the tip there. Really appreciate that. And happy to answer your question. In terms of virtual visits, FaceTime, that's been going on, really since the early spring, and continues to happen, just about every single day. So there's no slowing down in that regard. In terms of who's going to be the next player to commit, I have to think it's going to be Kool-Aid. That's kind of the way I'm leaning right now. Marius Mims, he'll be announcing a decision on October the 14th. I do think it's going to come down between Georgia and Tennessee. I know people talk about Alabama, and he grew up an Alabama fan, but I think the lack of trips to Tuscaloosa since junior day, really kind of, affects his decision, because he's visited Georgia, has visited Tennessee multiple times over the course of the last couple months. Returning to Athens this weekend. I think there was a report out there that he was potentially coming to Tuscaloosa this weekend for a visit, but that's not happening. He's going over to Athens, and to be in Athens from Friday until Sunday, and then he's making that decision next week. So I just don't see him announcing a commitment to Alabama after going to Georgia this weekend and watching the 2 teams that I feel like are the top 2 for his in his recruitment. Another player who's going to be announcing a decision next week that we've talked about on this show several times is Christian Zachary. He's also not an in-state kid. He's a kid from the state of Georgia, from Carrollton, Georgia, and Alabama likes this kid a lot, but I think with Alabama's numbers right now, makes things extremely difficult in terms of, taking another, defensive end, outside linebacker type. He's more so of a jack linebacker. He's about 6'3", 250 pounds right now, but, outstanding football player. I think if Alabama had a little bit more room, he would certainly be in this class. And they, you never know. They still may take him, but he's announcing on October the 15th. And I think that's going to be probably a little bit too soon for Alabama to make a decision on whether or not he can be a part of this class. But we're going to continue to watch him, see what happens. But those are 2 guys that Alabama's recruited for a while that I think is going to end up elsewhere. But then Kool-Aid is going to be announcing that decision on October the 25th, And I think that Alabama, as of right now, I'm leaning that direction with Kool-Aid to Alabama.
Bone, you talked about Georgia and this battle that Alabama has going with Georgia. What about Dallas Turner? There's been some, some speculation that he might be maybe jumping off Alabama and decommitting and going to Georgia. Any truth to that?
Dallas Turner, when he announced his decision to Alabama, back in the summer, it was really kind of a top three: Alabama, Georgia, Florida. And I would say probably in May and maybe a little bit earlier in the spring, a lot of people were predicting him to Georgia. Everybody kind of thought that was the direction he was going. He had visited Alabama and Georgia both for junior day, and a lot of people thought he was going to end up in Athens. Well, he ends up committing to Alabama, which surprised a lot of people, I think, especially in Georgia. So Georgia, I don't think, has really slowed down their pursuit of him, and I think that's probably what has a lot of people, maybe more so on message boards right now than anything else, talking about the potential of a flip. But from talking to Dallas's father here recently, I just don't see him flipping. I think he's very solid with his commitment. He's, they seem very happy with Alabama. So, it's something that we're going to continue to watch, continue to monitor just in case. But, just from talking to the Turner family, seems like they're very locked in with Alabama, very excited about the future. And, may also, from what we're hearing, planning on returning to Tuscaloosa next weekend for the game against Georgia.
All right, yeah, there's Andrew Bone, and that's a look at recruiting brought to you by our friends at Bama Buggies. Hey, guys, let me tell you something really cool. After the game, when Alabama and Ole Miss pack it up and the game's over, all you got to do to get your first thoughts out is go to Bama Insider on YouTube. And some of you might be watching our show right now on YouTube. Just come right back here. For those of you listening on Jocks Radio, get to your computer, do it through your phone, the Bama Insider YouTube channel. We go live right after the game. Kyle Henderson takes your calls, breaks down the matchup, and it's your chance to really get that first reaction in after Alabama plays each and every game. What's really cool is one of our favorite spots, and I can't speak for Bone, but I got a feeling that Bone's going to agree with me, is the Floribama Bar in Orange Beach, Alabama. It's right there. For those of you that haven't been there yet, it's right there on the line. It's doing it on the line, right? On the Florida Alabama line, right? See, I'm thinking country music, Florida, Georgia. No, Florida, Alabama line is the Floribama, right there on the beach. They're back open again. We're going to be live there for the LSU game and the Arkansas game. It's going to be a ton of fun. They wanted me to tell you guys that since they're in Florida, they don't have any more COVID restrictions. So unlike us in Alabama, the last southern state with the masks, they don't have the masks. They don't have any of the restrictions anymore. They've done a nice job of fighting off the COVID. So they're back to normal, and they're inviting you down. They're open 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. every day. They've got free bingo on Monday through Friday from 1 to 4. You can come get the Bushwhackers. I would recommend not getting them if you're going to do a radio show. Maybe wait until after. And that's a long story, but John McInnes, our friend, owns the place. It's just a lot of fun to go down, tons of TV. It's a great place to watch football, and they just want you to know that they're open after Hurricane Sally, after COVID. Floribama.com, or check them out on Facebook. They got a lot of fun things going on down there, and I'm just really excited about them being part of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. Hey, look, talking about fun, when we return, my buddy Brick and McKenzie and I are going to bring you a Mick and Brick beer review. Started doing this during quarantine. I got sent home from spring training. I'm working Cubs games. Everything's great in my life. COVID comes. Next thing I know, I'm furloughed. I got to find something to do. So I started to work out, and I started beer reviews, and we're going to have one for you when we come back. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show, including talk of Alabama and Ole Miss right after this.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Genesis of Tuscaloosa, Alabama's first Genesis dealer, is a proud sponsor of Crimson Tide football and pleased to announce another first, the all-new 2021 GV80, the newest luxury SUV from Genesis, arriving soon. Be first to call and reserve your spot to experience the new standard of luxury in Tuscaloosa, the all-new 2021 Genesis GV80. See our full luxury lineup at Genesis of Tuscaloosa, the corner of Skyland and Hargrove, genesisoftuscaloosa.com.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide. Switching your job is stressful. Switching your schools is painful, but switching your insurance to Allstate, it really couldn't be easier. At Allstate, you call one local agent who can assist you with all your policies and make your paperwork simple. Here in Tuscaloosa and Northport, Allstate agent Andrew Conifer can help you protect everything from your home, car, boat, motorcycle, or even RV, ATV, and snowmobile. Stop by Andrew Conifer's office today at 4705 McFarland Boulevard. Are you in good hands? Prices vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availabilities.
Bama Buggies, proud to support the Crimson Tide, always a superstar lineup. And what a lineup at Bama Buggies, one of Alabama's largest volume power sports dealers featuring the brands you love. Polaris, Sea-Doo, Slingshot, $54.99. All the fun you can stand starting at just $54.99. The best seats in the outdoors on sale now. Bama Buggies on Skyland Boulevard East, BamaBuggies.com. Price plus tax. Discount off MSRP includes all manufacturer incentives, dealer discounts, and freight while supplies last. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
Get in on the action at Pearl River Resort. New members get $50 of free play on us. Or if you haven't played with us since 2018, we're inviting you to come back and play. $50 on us. See Players Club for details.
Where's our sports fans? Place your bets now at the Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. From the first pitch to the final down, the toss-up to the knockout, and everything in between, we'll keep you in action all season long. Play, win, repeat. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casino's Pearl River Resort properties.
Do you consider... Everybody, it's time for your favorite show and ours. It's time for Beer with Mick and Bricken.
What is up? Roll Tide, everybody.
Hey, guys, you're watching the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, or maybe you're listening on Jocks 2 in Birmingham, 100.5, and you're going, hey, wait a second. I didn't know that the Mick and Bricken Beer Review was part of the Bama pregame show. Well, it's brought to you by Yingling Lager, all right?
Look, we got a lot of our friends that listen to us right around in Tuscaloosa, right around in Birmingham. Everybody's hearing us. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we started doing this beer review during quarantine, and it's just kind of blown up into this.
That's about when I started growing this mustache.
He's got the mustache. But look, guys, what's really cool is that we're going to try all these different Yingling products, and today we're going to sample one of my favorites. It's the Yingling Porter, and for those of you listening on radio, got a six-pack here. It comes in the red box, has the red label on it. These are ice cold.
And you say it's pretty hard to find here in Alabama.
Yeah, this is a hard one to find. I actually picked this six-pack up in Georgia as I crack it open right now. But this porter is as good as you're going to find. They've been brewing beer in Pottsville, Pennsylvania for 6 generations since 1829. And as I pour this, Bricken, you can tell it's dark, it's creamy.
Oh, man.
Got those notes of cocoa.
Those notes, right?
Yeah, notes, like music notes.
Well, so what do you think of Mac Jones?
Yeah, look, Mac Jones. He's been a Mac Jones guy.
He's proven me right.
He's been a Mac Jones guy as I hold this cold beer in my hand. And I've been impressed. I really have. Like, the guy has just proven me wrong. And I'm glad. Look, I'll eat a little bit of crow because that's what I want to see. I wanted to see him take over. He's a bigger, stronger kid this year. He's motivated. He's got this team behind him. And what's really been impressive to me is his decision-making and the touch on those long balls.
Man, look, when your daddy gives you the keys to a Cadillac, you got to know how to drive it.
Porsche.
And he's doing a good job.
It's
That's
a Porsche,
right.
man.
That's right.
All right, look at this beer real quick.
Yingling Dark Brewed Porter is an original specialty beer that has been brewed expressly for tavern owners and family trade since 1829. We are proud to be one of the largest porter producers in the U.S.
Yeah, maybe the best, too. This may be the best U.S. porter. I know it's one of the oldest brews, but, I mean, you can tell. This beer right here is dark. It's not very carbonated.
Look, there is a whole lot to be said about consistency, Mick.
Yeah.
About doing this for so long and being consistent with it. I mean, that's something that nobody really thinks about.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
That is a parrot in the background as we sit
It could be
here.
a monkey,
Yeah.
but just believe it is a parrot,
As
or
we
chickapoo, parakeet, but whatever it is.
All right, well, look, man, I got to drink some of this right here. I mean, this is a Yingling beer review. Man, that's good. That's exactly what a porter is supposed to taste like.
What I love about it is
smooth.
Even though it looks heavy, it's not. So this is 4.4% alcohol. It's 160 calories, guys. I mean, this is a great beer. It's a good drinking beer. Look, if that's what you're into.
Yeah.
I mean, I am. But,
right. We both are. Well, when I first tried Yingling, it was the lager that kind of got me tied in. And as my tastes have changed, I've come to appreciate the black and tan, which we previewed before.
Right.
But also, this porter is one of my favorite. I can't wait to try the Hershey porter that we're going to do on this show sometime soon.
Most of the time when you talk about porters, you talk about stouts, you talk about ales, some of the things that turn people off are they're too heavy. And this is not heavy. It looks heavy, but it's not. So you ladies, you can try it too.
Yeah. All right, man. Look at this right here. All right, so Alabama and Ole Miss, what do you think?
Are you asking me about score? Are you asking me?
I don't know. You got
look,
a minute to tell us.
I really think that this is going to be a Najee Harris show. I mean, I think that the Alabama offensive line is going to dominate the Ole Miss defensive line, and I think we're going to rack up. Brian Robinson's going to get in a lot. I really think our running game is going to take the show.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And we're going to talk more about my thoughts on this game. But the line of scrimmage should be dominated by Alabama. I mean, Lane Kiffin has had a tough time.
On both sides of the ball.
Right. Lane Kiffin has had a tough time finding guards.
Yeah.
And Alabama's defense, I know that some people weren't as happy as I was after the Texas A&M game, but I thought they're going to give up yards. They didn't give up many points. There was a couple missed tackles. One cost them a touchdown. But I thought all in all,
early in the season,
pressure on the quarterback, and that's what we're doing. And I love the fact that they've got some veterans and they've got some young guys. This is an exciting team because the offense is going to score a ton of points.
Look, the offense is going to score a ton, and I do think, guys, that we got to expect some trick plays from Lane Kiffin because that's how he is.
All right, guys, that's it for the Mick and Break Beer Review. We'll do it again next show. Thanks for watching. Now I got to send it back. Hey, that was fun, man. You guys are watching or listening to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show with Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. We appreciate all of you, whether you're watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel or Facebook, by the way. I just cranked that up. Or if you're listening on Jocks Radio in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa on Jocks 2 100.5. Or, man, maybe you got the podcast. We're trying to get this to you any way we can. It's a tailgate show. And so, look, man, we're going to talk some football too. But, like, when you tailgate on the quad, you got to bring a good beer, man. Kyle, you got to bring a good beer. You want to make everybody happy. And I'll tell you, the thing about Yingling is not only is it a great beer, but the price, you can't beat it. You got to buy a bunch of people
beer.
The
best way sometimes to take care of your buddies is always to pick up that first round or just bring, a 12-pack. And you're kind of the life of the party. For me, it's the Yingling Pilsner. So, obviously drink responsible. But when you do, Yingling, the Pilsner, definitely the way to go.
All right, look, we always do the R&R cigar, hot smoking takes and stuff like that. You're a guy with these hot nuggets, man. Give me some nuggets here. Give me some nuggets. Give me something that is going to blow my mind. Give me a hot take.
In this particular game, I mean, you look at the fact that everybody's been asking about where's Najee Harris, where's the production of the running game, is it the offensive line play? And I talked about this earlier in the show. I mean, I think it just Alabama really hasn't had to go to the running game. But I think from everything that I gather, it's about to be the Najee Harris and Brian Robinson show and on against Ole Miss. I think this Ole Miss team is a team that is going to have trouble stopping the run. I think that Alabama wants to show they can run. Because I think it's times where you kind of flex that you can both throw the football and run the football. So I think kind of the nugget, or if you want to say the key to the game, is going to be watch for Najee Harris. Just as Brick said, expecting Najee Harris to do his thing. I think you look at a game that's going to be in the rain. You look at guys who are going to rise up, play on the road, really rise to that occasion in a pivotal SEC game. They're all pivotal, right? I mean, this is the fun thing about this season. I think take it to the bank. I mean, you look at maybe Najee Harris, Brian Robinson pushing over that 200-yard mark. I think they're going to get that many carries in this game And I think Alabama is going to show, hey, we can run the football, we can throw the football, but most importantly, if we really need to grind it out and win a game in the slot, and we got Najee Harris, and the campaign continues against Ole Miss.
BamaInsider.com. Tell me something about it, Kyle.
I mean, I think one thing about BamaInsider.com is you can get the daily nuggets you crave every single day. Obviously, Andrew Bone does a great job on the recruiting front, but I think team-wise, too, you're getting quality written content with Tony Tsoukalas, who's a brilliant team writer. I think, those insider nuggets that you can't get anywhere else back on Bama Insider. And I think it's a company that continues to be on the rise. I mean, what we're doing right here, adding value, adding creative content, I think you've done an exceptional job being an addition to the show. And you saw kind of the foresight that I see as we look at the business landscape. What can we do to provide the content that we want to our Alabama Crimson Tide faithful? And that's what we're doing right here on the Tailgate Show. So watch the Tailgate Show. And of course, after the game is the post-game reaction show right here on Bama Insider on the YouTube channel. So pull out your phone, go on YouTube after the game and join the post-game reaction show. Mick will be joining me, and we have fun. We take calls from all over the country. In fact, the last time that we had the call-in show, there was callers from it was New York, they were from Texas, they were from Florida. So as you know, Alabama, it's just not a state brand, it's a national brand when you cover the Crimson Tide. So definitely check out Bama Insider, and of course check out our channel on YouTube. Just look for Bama Insider.
Now, the segment brought to you by our friend Reagan and R&R Cigars. Say happy birthday to Reagan, celebrating his birthday today. R&R Cigar invites you to come down to the Cigar Mansion. That's in downtown Tuscaloosa. Best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar and Angels Envy bourbon. You want to know how to get that? You tell them Mick sent you. That's right. Mick sent you Angels Envy bourbon and a cigar for $10. And you can use that code too if you want to, Kyle. It's 2703 6th Street, Tuscaloosa. That's near Home to Suites, or cigarmansion.com. Bama takes on Ole Miss, and we're going to get you set for kickoff. A huge win last week in overtime, beating Kentucky for the Rebels. Did it change the momentum? Who watch for the Rebels when we come back? Elijah Moore, maybe? We're going to talk with our buddy Neal McCreedy from Rebel Grove when we return. The second hour of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show coming up next.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Tailgate time at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Now 0% APR for 72 months on our most popular SUVs. New 2021 Tucson and 2020 Santa Fe. No interest for 6 years. Plus our 1,000,000-mile warranty, no charge. And America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and owner assurance. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove. TuscaloosaHyundai.com. Available on select models. 0% APR based on 72 monthly payments of $1,389 for $1,000. Financed with approved credit. All sales plus tax, title, and registration. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
Switching your job is stressful. Switching your schools is painful. But switching your insurance to Allstate, it really couldn't be easier. At Allstate, you call one local agent who can assist you with all your policies and make your paperwork simple. Here in Tuscaloosa and Northport, Allstate agent Andrew Conifer can help you protect everything from your home, car, boat, motorcycle, or even RV, ATV, and snowmobile. Stop by Andrew Conifer's office today at 4705 McFarland Boulevard. Are you in good hands? Prices vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms, conditions, and availabilities.
R&R Cigars invites you to come down to the Cigar Mansion. Located in the historic Maxwell Mansion downtown, over 1,000 cigars and over 100 bourbons await you. The Cigar Mansion is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar, bourbon, and then watch the tide roll. Tell them the Bama Insider Tailgate Show sent you, and you'll get a cigar and an Angels Envy bourbon for $10. You can't find a better place to relax and watch the game than the Cigar Mansion R&R Cigars. R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, by the Home 2 Suites.
Bama Buggies, proud to support the Crimson Tide, always a superstar lineup. And what a lineup at Bama Buggies, one of Alabama's largest volume power sports dealers featuring the brands you love. Polaris, Sea-Doo, Slingshot, $54.99. All the fun you can stand starting at just $54.99. The best seats in the outdoors on sale now. Bama Buggies on Skyland Boulevard East, BamaBuggies.com. Price plus tax. Discount off MSRP includes all manufacturer incentives, dealer discounts, and freight while supplies last. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
Get in on the action at Pearl River Resort. New members get $50 of free play on us. Or if you haven't played with us since 2018, we're inviting you to come back and play. $50 on us. See Players Club for details.
Where's our sports fans? Place your bets now at the Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. From the first pitch to the final down, the toss-up to the knockout, and everything in between, we'll keep you in action all season long. Play, win, repeat. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casino's Pearl River Resort properties.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines two of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
That's what I do, man. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show. As you listen, maybe on Jocks 100.5 in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, or around the central Cotton State, maybe you're watching right now. And we do appreciate you on our YouTube channel, the Bama Insider YouTube channel, or some of you might be even downloading the podcast. Alabama against Ole Miss, Saban against Kiffin. This is definitely a different feel to this matchup as I bring in Neal McCreedy. He's known all across the Rebel landscape, and that's because he's part of the Rivals Network from Rebel Grove. What's up, Neal?
Mick, good to be with you, man. I'm a big fan of your work, as I've told you before, and I've had you on my podcast before. And as a diehard Cubs fan, I have listened to you call spring games. I've listened to minor league games. It's an honor to be with you.
Yeah, well, look, I was sent home from spring training. And that's been it, man, until the show cranked up, work-wise. It's been such a weird year. Everyone watching probably is Braves fans. A lot of Cubs fans, though, because of WGN. That's kind of how we both got into it, it's great to kind of have someone on there that loves the game of baseball as much as we do. And then, it's kind of like looking at this matchup between Alabama and Ole Miss. And all of a sudden, you got like this added sense with Lane Kiffin, former Alabama offensive coordinator, former Tennessee coach, former USC coach, former Raiders coach, everything else that he's been up and down. And then, of course, Alabama and Nick Saban. It's an interesting game this year.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Look, Alabama is leaps and bounds ahead of where Ole Miss is as a program, as a team. But what's interesting is, as someone who was in Alabama the first couple of years that Nick Saban was there, and as someone who's followed Nick Saban's career forever now, you see a lot of Saban characteristics in Kiffin. Things he says, ways he starts his press conference, sometimes with his hands and things. There's a lot of, you can tell that Lane Kiffin in his 3 seasons with Nick Saban sponged. You can see it. I mean, it's everywhere. The way he runs his program, the way he does media stuff, everything with assistant coaches, all of that is very much Saban model. And it's really remarkable to watch as one of the guys on the beat, maybe the only guy on the beat who has kind of been around Saban in a couple of different places. When I was in Mobile, when I got off the Auburn beat, I was covering the SEC as a whole. And my first season was 2003. And LSU won the national title that year with Nick Saban. And, Mobile to Baton Rouge is a quick little hop. It's actually the closest SEC school to Mobile in terms of mileage. And I bet I covered 7, maybe 8 LSU games that year. And so I was around Saban a lot. And then I saw him get started at Alabama before I moved up here. And you see a lot with Kiffin. And Kiffin's trying to do, and listen, I'm always careful to put this caveat out there. I'm not saying he can do it. I'm not saying it's doable. I'm not saying it's something that he will be able to achieve. But what he wants to do is do at Ole Miss much of what Kirby Smart has done at Georgia, which is essentially take the Alabama program and build a satellite.
He's Neal McCreedy. As you listen to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, Kyle Henderson and me, Mick Gillispie, talking Alabama and Ole Miss. Neal with Rebel Grove, which is part of the Rivals Network, just like we are. We're family here. Yeah, you spent time in Alabama. You've seen this whole thing come up and just kind of what Nick Saban's built. Just kind of staying on this Lane Kiffin topic. I mean, there's no one better as far as an offensive mind, in my opinion, than Lane Kiffin. And I'm really interested to see what he's able to do against Alabama, what he's able to do the rest of the season. Had a huge win last game against Kentucky. But then there's this other side of Lane Kiffin, too. I mean, he's so Jekyll and Hyde, where he has a lot of off-the-field issues that he deals with. He doesn't always make the best decisions. I'll just say that. I'll leave it there. In his personal life. And then when you're the head coach of these programs, or even an assistant like he was in Alabama, you're such a celebrity, not even judging. It's just tough to get away with it.
Oh, there's no question about it. You just nailed it. So Kiffin, the football coach, we've already seen Kiffin, the football coach, impact a program. I'll give you an example. Matt Corral, Ole Miss's quarterback. A year ago, Mick, he had gotten hurt, essentially lost his job sort of for some political reasons and that kind of thing. Never really played much the second half of the season, lost his confidence, and he was planning to transfer. He was leaving. I know he says now that he wasn't going to go. Mick, he was going to go.
Right.
Okay. So here you have Lane Kiffin steps in. They lose spring practice. They lose the offseason like everybody else did because of COVID. And he only has a few weeks with Matt Corral. And already the knock on Corral was he can't make good decisions. He can't read defenses. He can't decide where to go with the ball quickly. It's a disaster. Look at his numbers, Mick. This is against two SEC teams. And again, it's not Alabama, it's not Georgia, but it's Florida. They're really good. And it's Kentucky, and they're a really nice defense. They're a good team. And Matt Corral, look at his numbers. He's right there with Mac Jones and Kyle Trask and Trevor Lawrence in terms of QBR. And against 2 games, really small sample size. It's like judging a baseball player up to 30 at-bats. I mean, you have to be careful. Right. But it is 2 games. I mean, he has put up those numbers. You don't go 24 for 29 for 320 yards and four touchdowns by accident. Those are real numbers. You have to have some talent. And you have to have some understanding. But this is what Kiffin does so well. And you guys saw this in Alabama up close and personal with Blake Sims, with Jake Coker. He is able to take the game, simplify it, make the decisions easier, cut the field into a third, cut the field into a half, cut the reads from 4 to 2, from 5 to 1. I mean, that's what he does. And you see him doing it with Corral, and then you see the confidence kick in Matt Corral. And here's a kid that has a really good arm. He can throw in the windows. He can do some things. And so that's Kiffin, the coach. But now you just nailed it. Kiffin, the person. I don't know that he likes being the super celebrity in a place like Oxford. And when you're here, it's you're the biggest person in town. I mean, you are the celebrity in the state of Mississippi. You're probably the celebrity. You're the most known person in the state. I don't know that Kiffin likes that, but it's part of the gig. And so if you talk to people that know him, they'll say, the football part comes natural to him. He's a great coach. He's a great in-the-moment coach. He sees things in live time that he can react to. He can play. He can call plays. He can do all those things. He's a very good talent evaluator. Otherwise, he would have never been hired by Nick Saban. Let's be honest.
Right.
He can do all those things, but can he stay out of his own way? And that's the jury's out. We'll see.
Neal McCready is with Rebel Grove, part of Ole Miss's Rivals Network. And hey, look, we are too. Bama Insider. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. As you listen on Jocks 2 or the Bama Insider Rivals Alabama YouTube channel, talking Alabama and Ole Miss. So I agree with you, man. I think you've got this thing handicapped really well. There's not going to be a better offensive coach. And I thought Ole Miss, when they went out and got Lane Kiffin, made just an enormous move. And look, the program wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't. And now all of a sudden, they're going to go out and recruit. They're going to get an opportunity with guys they wouldn't have. They forced Mississippi State to go out and get the best possible coach they could get. I don't remember a time where the state of Mississippi had two better head coaches ever.
It's because it's never happened. It's what I wrote too. I wrote this. Hell, I wrote it 3 years ago, Mick. When the day that Ole Miss ended up promoting Matt Luke, I said, just go hire Lane Kiffin. Because here's the thing: when you're 4-8, there's no difference between 4-8 and 2-10.
Right.
Someone said, well, they're better than Arkansas. So what does that do for you? When you're 4-8, there's no place to fall. And so if you're, like last season, let's say that there'd been an opening for whatever reason at Georgia or Alabama or Oklahoma or Clemson, a program like that, Ohio State. Well, those programs can't take a gamble at that point in time on Lane Kiffin because the fall would be too far. You're so far up the ladder that you can't afford to risk that. If you're Ole Miss, coming off of the Hugh Freeze debacle, NCAA sanctions, 4-8, complete apathy from your fan base, you're only like one rung up the ladder. If you happen to fall off the ladder, what are you going to do? Like barely sprain your ankle? That's the time to make the move. And so they did it. And look at this week, for example. The Ole Miss coach, people go, well, it's Lane Kiffin. I'm like, it is Lane Kiffin, but it is the Ole Miss coach. The Ole Miss coach is on Barstool. He's on the Dan Patrick Show. And yeah, he's on to talk about Saban. I get it. But he's the Ole Miss coach. And he's funny, and he's cool, and he's really good in that environment. You guys have seen it. And kids see that. And so he's already built this product. He's built the brand already. He's gone with the powder blue jerseys, which the kids love, and they're doing some of the stuff on the sidelines that kids like. And when they get out of this COVID thing, it stands to reason that at the very least, he's going to be able to get a visit from those kids. He's going to be able to get the elite kids to come in, and then he's got to do step 2 of the recruiting process, which is, hey, I know Alabama's recruiting you. I know Georgia's recruiting you. I know Florida's recruiting you. I'm just making 3 examples right there. And yeah, those guys are winning. Do you want to just be another cog in the wheel, or do you want to be one of the guys that jump starts this? And for some kids, that won't be enough. But it only takes a few to get you going. And that's what he's going to try to do. He's going to try to do it in a completely different way than Matt Luke tried to over the last few years. And you won't meet a better guy than Matt Luke. Super nice person. He ran a nice program. He was great to the media and all of those things. But Mickey wasn't relevant. And the program wasn't relevant. I mean, the big story last year for Ole Miss football was John Rice Plumlee could play the piano. Yay. I mean, that doesn't fire anybody up. That no one cares. And so now the story of the program is Lane Kiffin. And it's exciting and it's interesting and people are curious and the media's covering it all the time and you're in the headlines. And they played Florida well. Florida's better than them. They went to Kentucky and won a really fun, entertaining, crazy kind of game. And they'll get killed on Saturday. But they've got some games coming up that they can win. They can beat Arkansas. They can beat South Carolina. They can beat Vanderbilt. And you can build a little bit off of that going forward. They can beat Mississippi State. Now, they can lose to those teams too, don't get me wrong. But those are games they can win. And if he wins a few of those and gets a little momentum and get through this COVID thing, it's really going to be an interesting story to follow.
He's Neal McCreedy from Rebel Grove. That's Ole Miss's rival site. Thanks a lot, Neal.
Hey, Mick, good to be with you.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
When it comes to protecting all your stuff, wouldn't it be great to have one place that protects it all? Here's some good news. Tuscaloosa and Northport Allstate agent Andrew Conifer is the only insurance agent you need to help keep tabs on protection for all your stuff. Everything from your home, car, boat, to your motorcycle, RV, snowmobile, and even ATV. Stop by Allstate agent Andrew Conifer's office today at 4705 McFarland Boulevard or give Andrew a call at 205-722-9201. Are you in good hands?
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, football is fine art. Now at newlifeart.com, see Daniel A. Moore's new 2021 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring 13 dynamic images of defining moments from the Saban era. As a special offer to listeners of this show, use coupon code ROLLTIDE for $5 off each calendar. To order yours, call 1-800-735-2787 or visit newlifeart.com today.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
Introducing Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Now available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Get in on the action at Pearl River Resort. New members get $50 of free play on us. Or if you haven't played with us since 2018, we're inviting you to come back and play. $50 on us. See Players Club for details.
Where's our sports fans? Place your bets now at the Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. From the first pitch to the final down, the toss-up to the knockout, and everything in between, we'll keep you in action all season long. Play, win, repeat. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos, Pearl River Resort properties.
Hey fam, this is Kyle Henderson with BamaInsider.com, reminding you to join Mick Gillispie and me right after the game on the Bama Insider YouTube channel for the Bama Insider postgame show. We'll break down the game with instant analysis, have Nick Saban's press conference, and take your calls and comments. That's the Bama Insider postgame show right after Alabama plays on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. See you there. Please join us tonight for the Bama Insider postgame show on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Roll Tide, roll.
Well, howdy, fans, and welcome to Week 5 of Leonard's Losers. The little upset bug was rampant last week, and the little smart pill machine finished 9-4. Let's take a look at this week's losers. Portions of this program brought to you by Yingling Lager, America's oldest brewery. Spread your wings. Tennessee versus Georgia. It's a blue tick hound versus an English bulldog Saturday afternoon between the hedges. Smokey tamed a tiger last week, while Uga was busy chomping War Eagle feathers. The number 3 Red Clay Hounds held Auburn to 2 field goals last week, while the Vols put up a solid performance against Mizzou. When the dust settles in Sanford Stadium on Saturday night, Uga may have the last bite. Leonard's loser in a close one, Tennessee. Florida versus Texas A&M. The giant water lizards slither into College Station for this SEC nooner. Mullins' men are 2-0, holding on to the number 4 spot in the polls, while Jimbo Fisher's Aggies are 2-1. Gator quarterback Kyle Trask, who was named after Kyle Field, has put up some big stats, leading the SEC tossing 10 TDs. This one goes back to 2010 through 2017, when Jimbo Fisher was at Florida State and owned the Gators, going 7-1. Will Kyle Field be kind to Kyle Trask? Leonard's loser, Florida. Miami versus Clemson. The Canes blow into Death Valley, hoping to dethrone the number 1 Tigers. Clemson Heisman candidate quarterback Trevor Lawrence has put some impressive numbers and best continue on Saturday night. Canes quarterback Derek King has also brought some lofty credentials, hurling for 736 yards and no INTs, while averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Miami has some firepower and will put the Tigers to the test. Leonard's loser in a close one, Miami. Alabama versus Ole Miss. Saban's Red Elflins trekked to Oxford looking to trample Tony the Landshark. The Rebels pulled a big upset last week against a Wildcat, and the Lane train would like to make it 2 in a row. Not so fast, my friends. High tide will wash Tony to dry land where he ain't got a chance of surviving. Leonard's loser, Ole Miss. Well, fans, there you have this week's losers. And remember, if you can't wear a smile, wear a white hat so we can tell you from the bad guys. Get me out of here, Percy.
Kyle Henderson, I'm Mick Gillispie. It's our pick segment. But, guys, let me tell you something right now. You need to pick up one of these at newlifeart.com. This is the 2021 calendar. It's got Nick Saban on there. And we can't get to 2021 fast enough, right? Because this year has been just so strange. But, look, it's great to bring on a guy who knows, Kyle, a lot about gambling, a lot about picks and all that stuff, and is a very well-known radio personality in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. That's LT Lance Taylor from the Jocks Roundtable. And you guys might know him too because he's a sharp, right? He's going to help you with your picks. He's going to try to help us give, some information on our pick segment, which is we're in right now. And he has his website, lanceslocks.com. But yeah, without further ado, can we bring on Lance? All right, Kyle, I can't hear you. Right. There he is.
I appreciate the opportunity. I said I'm super excited about jumping on with you guys. Mick, I appreciate the opportunity. And, yes, hopefully we will have a winning weekend here in week 6 of college football. It's been a good week thus far. Major League Baseball has been a little tricky, but we've got college football and the NFL dialed in right now.
Well, look, Lance, what we need is you're going to kind of be our guru on picking games. So I'm going to give you the game. Don't tell us what your pick is. Just give us information so that when we make our picks later in this segment, we'll be as educated as possible, because I know you can do that for us. And let's start with Florida.
I'll do that, but if I have a really strong lean, I might just have to give you the pick. Is that okay?
We'll definitely. We'll take anything you want to give us, right? All right, Florida is a 6.5-point favorite at Texas A&M.
I just saw where this number has actually dove all the way down to 5. I've liked A&M all week. One thing you guys will learn about me as we do this throughout the fall is I don't love 11 o'clock games. For whatever reason, I've been snake bitten in that first window. It's gotten back to normal a little bit here in 2020. The only 11 o'clock game we had was West Virginia last week against Baylor. But back to this game, hard to believe that this is Florida's first trip to Kyle Field since 2012 and Johnny Manziel's first game. And you look at this Florida offense and how dynamic it's been with Kyle Trask and obviously Kyle Pitts. I mean, they've scored 51 and 38. They haven't scored 35-plus in 3 straight games since 2008, back in the Tebow days. Jimbo Fisher has lost 12 straight games to top 5 teams, including 0-7 at A&M, and losing those matchups by more than 19 points per game. But I've just got a weird feeling tomorrow that Texas A&M is going to be able to effectively run the football. I'm not sold on this Todd Grantham defense yet. I think Trask, as good as he's been, I think he makes multiple mistakes tomorrow. I'm not going to be surprised if A&M wins the game outright. I like A&M plus the 5 points right now.
Our pick segment is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. We've got Lance Taylor on from the Jocks Roundtable, Lance's Locks. He's given us the sharps look at these football games. Tennessee is getting 14 points at Georgia. Is that right? 14?
That's what they're saying, Mick. The thing about this game is I think Tennessee might have the advantage at quarterback with Garantano, a guy that really doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Stetson Bennett played well enough against Auburn with that Georgia defense to win that game. And you look at this matchup over the last 3 years, Georgia's completely dominated, winning 3 straight by a combined score of 122-26. This Georgia defense leads the SEC, only allowing 8 points per game. Tennessee's got the longest winning streak along with Notre Dame in the nation, which is crazy at 8 games, but they haven't played anybody. They haven't beaten anybody. This thing probably falls right around the number. I think Vegas putting it right at 2 touchdowns is probably about right. Again, I'm not sold on this Georgia offense, but I don't know how Tennessee actually gets any offense going against that Georgia defense. It was nice to see Gray and Chandler running the football. Tennessee's playing clean football, only 3 penalties, no turnovers last week against Missouri. I think Georgia wins. Right now, I lean Tennessee. I don't love this game, though.
Well, another one that's like a 2-touchdown spread is Miami at Clemson, and we're going to pick that game coming up. But what do you think about it? 14 points. Clemson is at home, and they're giving up a ton of points to the Canes.
Yeah, Mick, I circled this game a couple of weeks ago, and my two co-hosts, Brian Brown and Jim Dunaway, totally disagree with me on this game. But Miami is just something different about this team. I don't know if the U is fully back. Well, they've had a really good defense the last couple of years, and now you've got a dynamic quarterback in De'Aaron King, and you've also got really good special teams right now for Miami. And you start to look at Clemson. Obviously, they've won 35 straight regular season games, which is insane. Trevor Lawrence doesn't turn the football over. 314 straight attempts with no picks. Miami, though, you look at since the debut of the turnover chain back in 2017, they've forced a Power 5 best 82 turnovers. They're 13th in turnover margin right now. They're 2-0 all-time in Death Valley. I think this one goes to the wire, and I've used this comparison a couple of times this week, but I go back to 2017 and that hot Louisville team with Lamar Jackson the year he won the Heisman Trophy. When they came into Death Valley, reminds me of that game. I think Miami makes it really interesting. It comes down to a final possession. I think Clemson wins the game, but I like Miami plus the points.
Give us the lock of the week.
I like that one a lot. Another one I'm looking at, TCU, who sprang the upset over Texas this past week. Max Duggan. I think Gary Patterson's got his quarterback. I watched Duggan as a freshman last year. I was a little surprised he started Matthew Downing in week 1. I thought that was a mistake. Now that Duggan's in there, TCU's got a lot of offense. Kansas State is banged up. I like TCU minus 9.5, one of my favorite plays tomorrow.
All right, tell us about Lance's Lock, because there's a lot of people that go to Pearl River Resort, they go to the Timeout Sportsbook, and they want to be able to kind of wager with a little help, and you give them that help.
Yeah, look, and I appreciate you asking me about that. So this is year 6 of lanceslock.com. And, kind of created this to have a little fun with it, kind of a hobby, but at the same time, we're all about giving out winners. And you talk to a lot of services, and I've dealt with these guys for 20, 25 years, and a lot of these services will charge you $100, $150 a day. Some of these services will charge you $3,000 or $4,000 just for a football season. We charge you $90 for the entire month. It's $3 a day. You pay for it on a credit card, PayPal, and you never have to talk to anyone. When you use some of these other services, they're going to call, they're going to solicit, they're going to try to upsell you. You just go online, you go to lanceslock.com, you run the credit card, it's $90. We give you everything too. Right now, the game's already going. We've got the Yankees tonight in Game 5 of the ALDS, so we do baseball, the NBA Finals, we've got the Lakers tonight. All of college football, obviously, sides, totals, the NFL, we've got it all. It's only $90 per month. Again, we're in year 6. And we give you a free play every day. So if you're not really sure, we're very transparent. We don't win all the time. It's impossible in this business to win all the time. But go to lanceslock.com. We'll give you a free play. We've won 5 consecutive straight days of free plays, going back to Sunday with the Browns. So get on board. Check it out, lanceslock.com.
Hey, Lance, thanks, man. Awesome. And look forward to doing it again next week, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys enjoy the weekend. Be safe. Thanks so much.
You too, man. All right, yeah, Lance Taylor, LT from Jocks Roundtable, Lance's Lock. He gave us some insight, okay? So, okay, Kyle, okay, Trey, as we do these picks, now we've got a little education, and it's time to bring Trey on and talk about, well, who we're going to pick. But first, Trey, it's time to give us the updated standings.
Yeah, so I don't know if I want to give these away because of how bad this week was, but yeah, we'll start. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. I was 0 for 3. I was completely off. Yeah, as bad as it gets. So now I'm at 3 and 4, but at least we have Tyler here bringing up the caboose. 1 and 6. Now he also had an 0 and 3. But you guys, man. Mick, 6 and 1 now, dominant, undefeated last week. Kyle, you too, man. Now at 4 and 3, rolling. Got to get back in the mix this week. Tough games too.
That's it, man. Look, I got 3 Andrew Kniffer All-State footballs just to show you what my week was like. Okay, all right. Look, let's pick these games, and Kyle, we're going to start with Florida. 6.5. I'm keeping the spread when we lock it in during our weekly meeting. That's where it stays. All right. Florida is a 6.5 point favorite going into Texas A&M. Kyle, what do you think?
I mean, listening to Lance, I mean, that was great information. I think it helps. And while I have all the respect, and I hate to go against the guru, I think that Florida is playing out of their minds. And I mean, we just all watched Texas A&M. So I watched this team. I think Kyle Trask, what he's been able to do throughout the early part of the season, and I get it's a small sample size, but I really like Florida. I mean, that Kyle Pitts there, tight end, I feel he's one of the best in the nation. So I like Florida in this game, and I know it's going to College Station, but it's not going to be the same Kyle Field. I think Kyle Trask shines at Kyle Field. Obviously not my lock of the week, but I do like Florida. So no disrespect, Lance, but I'm going to take the Gators, and I'll play. I know it's 6 points, but I'm going to take Florida.
Trey, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Kyle. I think, we just got to watch this A&M team, and this is a good offense. This is a really good Bama defense this year. I think we're up to something on this end, but I just think we know what we've got in Texas A&M at this point, and even more so, we know what we have in Florida. This team can score a lot of points, and this defense has looked shaky. They've struggled at times, especially last week in South Carolina. But, I just think it's going to be a case of one team being a lot better than the other. And I think 7 is, a little low. That might be my lock of the week. I have something else planned, but that Friday.
Well, all right, look, I'm going with Texas A&M, man. I mean, they're a home team. It's 6.5 points. I mean, Florida might win the football game. And I know Texas A&M got blown out last week, but 6.5, that's a touchdown at home. I think that to me, and I think Texas A&M looked bad last week, but I think they're better than that. And I think Florida's looked good, but I think they're not as good as they've looked. So that's why I'm going to pick that one. All right, second game is Tennessee at Georgia, 14 points. Tennessee, I'm going with the Vols. I'll go first. 14 points. Give me the 14. I'm riding Tennessee right now. They've covered the spread the first 2 games. I think they're going to do it again. I don't know that they're going to win this football game. I've said it all year. They're going to beat someone, whether it's Georgia, Alabama, Florida, somebody good. Maybe I wouldn't even put Auburn in the good category. So this may be it. So I'm going to take Tennessee. Give me the 2 touchdowns. What do you think, Trey?
Yeah, this is a really hard one, and I'd say it's equally as hard as Clemson Miami because 2 touchdowns is a lot of points, and you obviously have one team that's better than the other here. But like you said, Tennessee is going to turn some heads this year, and with the way they're rolling, they look good against Missouri last week. I was foolish. I picked the Tigers there. I should have gone with the Vols. I'm going to do it this week. Give me Tennessee for this one. Kyle, what do you got?
I think I'm going to jump on board with you guys as well. I mean, it's tough to go against Mick right now. He's got so much momentum in the early season. But I love hearing that. I'm also, I mean, even the game is in Athens, but it's a whole different atmosphere. Just like going back to that Florida and Texas A&M game, it's not the same stadium, right? They can't fill these stadiums up to the capacity. I think that plays a large role, and it's a great equalizer this year. So I think Tennessee, just like you guys have seen, I mean, their offensive line is doing fantastic. I think they can run the football. I think they're playing great defense. Kirby Smart and those guys, they're obviously rolling. I think Georgia's going to win the football game, but by 14 points or more, I'm just not buying that. So I'll take Tennessee. So I'm with you guys right there.
All right, Miami is at Clemson. Clemson is giving up 14. Trey, we'll start with you.
Ooh, man, this is the hardest one on the ballot, no doubt about it, because we don't really know what we have in Miami yet. This team beat Louisville, who at the time was ranked, beat University of Alabama, Birmingham, take that for what it is. They've looked good, but I think this Clemson team is still elite, and this is a game where they can prove that. They've looked great against the top 10 these last few years. Obviously, Texas A&M last year dominated in that game. I think they prove themselves here, and I think they want to make a statement. 14 is a lot of points, but I think they cover it and maybe end some there. I got Clemson in this one.
All right, I'll go second. Look, I'm taking Clemson. I hate giving up 14 points, but the ACC doesn't have a challenger. That's not even like to me a real conference. It's Clemson and everyone else. There was a time when it used to be Florida State and everyone else, but not anymore. I hate giving up 2 touchdowns, but Clemson's going to make a point in this football game because they know they have to. They might not get many of these opportunities. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think, we're all kind of curious about Miami, and it's fun to fall in love early with a team that's 2-0, but we know what we have with Clemson. We know what we have with Trevor Lawrence. We know we have ATN, the running back, and all the wide receivers that Clemson has, and we know that their firepower is unbelievable. But Miami, they beat Florida State. Check the pulse on there. There's none, right? So I think what we have to know is that Clemson is going to make a statement, just like you said, Mick. I think when they're looking to beat their chest in a couple of these games. Now, there's going to be a game, I think, when they do play North Carolina, and that could be the game that potentially they do fall in, just like they almost did last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's going to happen this week. 14 points is a lot of points, but Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, I think they make a statement, and I'll jump on board with you, Mick, and take Clemson in those 14 points.
Lock of the week for me, you mentioned it. North Carolina's a 3.5-point favorite hosting Virginia Tech. Two teams, but look, I'm taking the Tar Heels. They're starting to win recruiting battles. Mac Brown's brought a lot of momentum back to his second stint as their head coach. I really like what's going on there, and I like the way that look at their rival site. They're bringing in talent, and they're competing. I like where this program is right now. What do you think, Trevor?
Yeah, North Carolina's look great. I'm gonna go outside of the SEC as well, a little bit unorthodox. I'm gonna go over under here for the lock of the week. Okay. Oklahoma and Texas tomorrow. It's set at 72, which is a high mark. That's a lot of points, but with the way these two teams score and how bad their defenses have looked at times this year, I think they hit that mark and go over it a little bit. We could see this be a game that maybe goes to overtime, a very even matchup. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think 72 is fair, but I think they'll exceed that tomorrow. What do you think, Kyle?
All right, lock of the week. No one's even talking about it, but everyone is so worried about the rain in Oxford. The one thing that stays consistent is saving. You got to take those 23 points, whatever it is. Look at the last couple of times these two teams have played each other. I'm trying to look for this graphic to kind of further educate my fans out there, but Alabama scored 59 last year. The year before that, they scored 62. The year before that, they scored 66. Alabama is coming to play. And I'm telling you right now, Lane Kiffin, yes, that's part of his game. And yes, he loves Nick Saban and blah, blah. Nick Saban wants to pound him into the ground. Okay, after that elderly comment and saying, kind of poking at the GOAT, he's not poking at the GOAT. He's poking at the Lion King. And Nick Saban's about to show him in Oxford that, he might be close to 7 years old, but Crimson Tide, along with the rain, is going to be a big wave. I'm taking Alabama, lock of the week, and I expect Crimson Tide to continue to roll, move to 3-0, but I think they make a big statement against Lane Kiffin on Saturday.
Hey, look, our pick segment, one of the fun parts of this show, brought to you by Pearl River Resort and Casino in Choctaw, Philadelphia, Mississippi. Now's a great time to make your picks count at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sports Book. We had a lot of fun. Lance Taylor helped us out. Guys, thanks for the picks. When we come back, we're going to talk about that game, Kyle. Alabama and Ole Miss talk right after this.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer, made from those bold enough to brew it for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Tailgate time at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Now 0% APR for 72 months on our most popular SUVs. New 2021 Tucson and 2020 Santa Fe. No interest for 6 years. Plus our 1,000,000-mile warranty, no charge. And America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and owner assurance. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove. TuscaloosaHyundai.com. Available on select models. 0% APR based on 72 monthly payments of $1,389 for $1,000 financed with approved credit. All sales plus tax, title, and registration. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
R&R Cigars invites you to come down to the Cigar Mansion. Located in the historic Maxwell Mansion downtown, over 1,000 cigars and over 100 bourbons await you. The Cigar Mansion is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar, bourbon, and then watch the tide roll. Tell them the BamaInsider Tailgate Show sent you, and you'll get a cigar and an Angel's Envy bourbon for $10. You can't find a better place to relax and watch the game than the Cigar Mansion R&R Cigars. R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, by the Home 2 Suites.
Switching your job is stressful. Switching your schools is painful. But switching your insurance to Allstate, it really couldn't be easier. At Allstate, you call one local agent who can assist you with all your policies and make your paperwork simple. Here in Tuscaloosa and Northport, Allstate agent Andrew Kniffer can help you protect everything from your home, car, boat, motorcycle, or even RV, ATV, and snowmobile. Stop by Andrew Kniffer's office today at 4705 McFarland Boulevard. Are you in good hands? Prices vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms, conditions, and availabilities.
Bama Buggies, proud to support the Crimson Tide, always a superstar lineup. And what a lineup at Bama Buggies, one of Alabama's largest volume power sports dealers featuring the brands you love. Polaris, Sea-Doo, Slingshot, $54.99. All the fun you can stand starting at just $54.99. The best seats in the outdoors on sale now. Bama Buggies on Skyland Boulevard East, BamaBuggies.com. Price plus tax. Discount off MSRP includes all manufacturer incentives, dealer discounts, and freight while supplies last. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
Get in on the action at Pearl River Resort. New members get $50 of free play on us. Or if you haven't played with us since 2018, we're inviting you to come back and play. $50 on us. See Players Club for details.
Where's our sports fans? Place your bets now at the Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. From the first pitch to the final down, the toss-up to the knockout, and everything in between, we'll keep you in action all season long. Play, win, repeat. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casino's Pearl River Resort properties.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines two of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
He's Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, and I got to tell you a couple things, guys. First off, we really appreciate you joining us, whether it's on the Bama Insider YouTube channel every Friday night, 6 to 8, or if you're listening right now on Jocks Radio in Birmingham, 9 to 11. Most Saturdays we're going to be on. Sometimes it changes, but we'll keep you updated. At Tide Pregame on Twitter. Always updates on that. Look, this is all about Alabama and Ole Miss. And this segment where we break down today's matchup is powered by Bama Buggies. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is the best out there, and we're glad that you're here with us. Bama Buggies, though, is the best out there as well. They're a touchdown for anyone looking for an ATV, a Sea-Doo, a motorcycle, a side-by-side. Hunting season's here. They got you covered. Bama Buggies. Check them out online, BamaBuggies.com. All right, Kyle, I know you were waiting for this. Alabama's going to try to establish the running game, and I think you think they're going to do it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and a lot of it is because of the weather, but I think right now Ole Miss's defense, they really struggle stopping the run. And I think Alabama has the ability to run the football. As you look at kind of the side-by-side stats right now, the running game doesn't really jump out for either team. Najee Harris, 29 carries, 141 yards with just 5 touchdowns. Right, 5 touchdowns in 2 games is pretty impressive. You had Brian Robinson, who kind of led the charge last week with 60 yards rushing, and I think we saw a lot from him, a lot of pop. I think he ran aggressive. I think he's that guy that showed that, yeah, he's a senior. He's ready, really kind of rebounded from that week 1 game where we really didn't see too much of him. But I think that tandem, as I continue to talk about, will really be effective against Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss will have a tough time. And of course, I mean, you can throw a wet ball, right? So if Mac Jones can just dump out to Jalen Waddle, I think those guys are going to be fine. Yeah, I'm curious about the field conditions, as we all are. But right now, I think ground heavy is going to be most impactful for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And it'll be a great opportunity for Alabama's defense. Matt Corral has done a fantastic job through the early season, 46 of 60. He has 716 yards or something like that with 7 touchdowns and only 1 interception. So he's really been effective early on. And Lane Kiffin has a wonderful offensive mentality. I think that will present challenges for Alabama's defense. But I think what I've seen from the defense overall, especially from some of these younger guys, I mean, my goodness, William Anderson coming off the edge, he's called the Terminator. And I'm calling Christian Harris up there the missile, 16 tackles. Those guys, that's a freshman and a sophomore we're talking about. You have Dylan Moses, who I think is playing well. And then a lot of these secondary players, I think, are starting to peak at the right time early in this first quarter of the season. So, there's a lot of schematics that go into this game. But just as Landon Dicker said Landon Dickerson said, no matter the weather, Alabama is going to be ready for whatever comes their way.
He's Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. I loved his interview. I thought he did a really nice job talking to the press. Is Nick Saban going to give Lane Kiffin a break if he can blow him out?
No, I mean, I think you have to, I think you have to show who the alpha is, and Saban's the father, right? And you have to, teach all these young pups coming up that, he respects their craft and they did a great job kind of while they were at Alabama. Maybe they didn't, but now it's head to head. So kind of throw all that out the window. And Nick Saban has to continue to prove that, he might not be the youngest coach in the room, but he still is the most talented. There's going to be guys that challenge him. I think when we continue to look at this early season schedule, you still got Lane Kiffin, you got Kirby Smart, you got Jeremy Pruitt, you got Mike Leach. Those are some very outstanding coaches next on the slate. And Nick Saban has a great opportunity to beat those coaches. And every single time that he beats those coaches head to head, I think that resonates with the rest of college football, the rest of the recruiting world, that Nick Saban, despite his age, he is still the best, the pinnacle of the coaching career. So, he's done such a fantastic job against assistants. I think, 20-0 right now, has the opportunity to be 21-0. And this all SEC schedule, I think he's going to take every single opportunity to prove just exactly what the Bama factor is.
Bama's taking on Ole Miss. That's in Oxford. They'll be dealing with a hurricane. And you know what? That's just part of it. We'll see what happens. Next week, though, Alabama and Georgia play in Tuscaloosa. And if you're looking for a place to stay, swing by Hotel Indigo. It's in downtown Tuscaloosa right there on the river. They've got rooms available. Hotel Indigo, awesome spot. You go up on the roof. They got the lookout bar. It's just incredible right there on the river. It used to be a car dealership back when I was a student, just to go way back in the day, and now that property is just amazing. Also, guys, we're going to be live next week from Rounders on the Strip for our show, so swing by and see us. We'll be there. It'll be 6 to 8 next Friday night. We want to hang out. Also, later on this season, we're going to have LSU and Arkansas shows live from the floor, Bama. That's going to be really awesome. They're open again, 3 stages live with music, no more COVID restrictions in the state of Florida. And since they're right on the beach on that Alabama-Florida line, they're actually technically Florida. So you know what? They're back and in full effect. No mask law or anything there. 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. They're open every single day. They've got all the different music stages and everything. They said, come by and get your bushwhackers and hang out. All right, look, when we come back, we're going to pick the game. We're going to pick our game, give us our final thoughts on this Alabama-Ole Miss game. We're going to wrap up the Bama Insider Tailgate Show right after this.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Tailgate time at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Now 0% APR for 72 months on our most popular SUVs. New 2021 Tucson and 2020 Santa Fe. No interest for 6 years. Plus our 1,000,000-mile warranty, no charge. And America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and owner assurance. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove. TuscaloosaHyundai.com. Available on select models. 0% APR based on 72 monthly payments of $1,389 for $1,000. Financed with approved credit. All sales plus tax, title, and registration. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
R&R Cigars invites you to come down to the Cigar Mansion. Located in the historic Maxwell Mansion downtown, over 1,000 cigars and over 100 bourbons await you. The Cigar Mansion is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar, bourbon, and then watch the tide roll. Tell them the Bama Insider Tailgate Show sent you, and you'll get a cigar and an Angel's Envy bourbon for $10. You can't find a better place to relax and watch the game than the Cigar Mansion R&R Cigars. R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, by the Home 2 Suites.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
Bama Buggies, proud to support the Crimson Tide, always a superstar lineup. And what a lineup at Bama Buggies, one of Alabama's largest volume power sports dealers featuring the brands you love. Polaris, Sea-Doo, Slingshot, $54.99. All the fun you can stand starting at just $54.99. The best seats in the outdoors on sale now. Bama Buggies on Skyland Boulevard East, BamaBuggies.com. Price plus tax. Discount off MSRP includes all manufacturer incentives, dealer discounts, and freight while supplies last. See dealer for details. Expires in a month.
Get in on the action at Pearl River Resort. New members get $50 of free play on us. Or if you haven't played with us since 2018, we're inviting you to come back and play. $50 on us. See Players Club for details.
Where's our sports fans? Place your bets now at the Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. From the first pitch to the final down, the toss-up to the knockout, and everything in between, we'll keep you in action all season long. Play, win, repeat. Only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casino's Pearl River Resort properties.
Hey fam, this is Kyle Henderson with BamaInsider.com, reminding you to join Mick Gillispie and me right after the game on the Bama Insider YouTube channel for the Bama Insider postgame show. We'll break down the game with instant analysis, have Nick Saban's press conference, and take your calls and comments. That's the Bama Insider postgame show right after Alabama plays on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. See you there. Please join us tonight for the Bama Insider postgame show on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Roll Tide, roll.
Well said, Roll Tide Roll. Final segment of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. It's presented by Tuscaloosa Hyundai, the Elantra, the Sonata, or you like to the Tucson. Tailgating does not get any better than Tuscaloosa Hyundai. And our game prediction with score is driven by Tuscaloosa Hyundai. He's Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. Great to have you with us today. Alabama against Ole Miss. Kyle's going to be on after the game with me, and we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it on the YouTube channel. But Kyle, Bama's a 24-point favorite. And I already know you think they're going to cover. No problem.
Yeah,
you told us already.
I already talked about this, right? That was my lock. And when you look at this game, I mean, the updated time, this was from the game details earlier. The game is now at 6:30 p.m. They wanted a little bit more rain on the field for this game. So that's a time change, and it's going to be at 6:30. Still going to be on ESPN. We're still going to have our watch party. Remember, during the watch party, you guys watch the game. We're watching with you. It's a celebration to celebrate college football. I think when you look at this game overall, there's many storylines. I think the biggest storyline is the fact that Saban has another opportunity to go against Lane Kiffin. And as soon as Lane Kiffin got hired at Ole Miss, I mean, a lot of people wanted to talk about that. And that was the biggest storyline. And just as Neal McCreedy said, I thought he brought up a great point in his interview earlier, is the fact that encouraged Mississippi State to go out and get the best coach that they could get in Mike Leach, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really kind of up to the overall SEC mentality. You look at the SEC, I don't know about everybody else, and it's not just because I cover Alabama football. I'm just watching the SEC. This feels like a clash of titans every single weekend. It's like kind of like, you know, I have the NFL on Sunday and then I have the SEC just on Saturday. And it's not because I cover Alabama. It's just those are the better games. Are you enjoying the ACC games? Yeah, we will when Clemson, you know, in Miami play. But outside of that, are you really entertained by, you know, the Big 12 and the scoring escapades? Yeah, that's kind of fun, but it's not quality football. My point is, you know, there's a big storyline taking place in Oxford, and that's Lane Kiffin trying to be the first coach, former assistant coach under Saban, to beat the GOAT. I don't think it's going to happen, and I think you're going to see a ground-heavy attack like everybody else has been predicting.
Look, man, Kiffin thinks he's funny. Like he's you know, he's like trying to like needle Nick Saban, and he's always got his little comments and his tweets, and he was doing the same thing when he was coaching that team in Florida that I've never heard of before. And now he's in the SEC for the second time, but now he's a grizzled vet. Now, I have a lot of respect for his ability to call plays, but I'm not really big on his leadership, okay? And the other part of this that I don't think is a good idea is Nick Saban's not the kind of guy that, you know, I'm calling up and I'm giving him a hard time. He just doesn't seem – I'll call you and give you a hard time, and you're going to give me one. We'll laugh about it. But Nick Saban's not us. He's always serious. He looks mad, And I think that what's going to happen to Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss this weekend is when you go out there as a kid and you throw a rock at a beehive and you don't run very fast. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be ugly. I think Alabama's going to run all over them. They're going to throw on them, and they're going to be relentless. Cobra Kai.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And I think, that's the fact that it didn't matter when this game was going to be, whether it was going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whether that's going to be, when both teams had their open week. It doesn't matter. The two teams don't match up well, plain and simple. Alabama is a clear juggernaut. They have every single thing that you want in a program. Mac Jones playing through the roof. The defense much better than people are giving them credit for. Najee Harris, they really haven't even had to use him just in goal line situations. This is not an even matchup. Take it for what it's worth. I think the Lane Kiffin, that's how he gets in the headlines. Think about it. When is he in the headline? When else is he in the headlines when he's not talking about Nick Saban? Not very many times, right?
Yeah.
So he has to kind of coattail of that. And I get it. It's part of his game. But I'm telling you, Crimson Tide coming to Oxford to make a statement against Ole Miss. I think it's going to be a ground-heavy attack, as I continue to say. But more than that, I think it's going to be a strong flex that Nick Saban still the biggest man in the room.
All right, give me in like 20 seconds a great reason and a promo code why I should check out BamaInsider.com.
We got tons of coverage at BamaInsider.com. Every single day, you can get instant analysis. You can get those nuggets you crave. And, of course, you got Andrew Bone providing those recruiting nuggets. The class is almost full, and you got a big one coming up with Kool-Aid JaQuincy McKinstry, the top player in the state of Alabama, about to announce his commitment on October 25th. Tons of coverage. It never stops. So join BamaInsider.com. Remember, the free promo code is simply Roll Tide.
All right, he's Kyle Henderson, and I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks to Trey Yanity back there producing, and Lance Taylor for joining our show, Brick and McKenzie for helping out on the beer review, and most importantly, all of you guys who have made this show possible, the people listening, our fans, and also our sponsors, Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery, Pearl River Resort, and the Timeout Sports Lounge going to be there real soon. Rounders, we're going to be there next Friday night, 6 to 8. Come by and hang out with us. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, R&R Cigar, happy birthday, Reagan. That's Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports. I'll tell you what, man, Don Staley, former Alabama soccer coach, my main man, and always great working with him. Bama Buggies, All-State agent Andrew Conifer got some of his footballs right here. Innisfree, we're going to be back there again with the show later on this football season. Old Mill, Stone with Water, Old Forge Moonshine. That's where we're going to do our Tennessee football game show. We're going to talk about that next week when we're kind of in that Georgia mode and then looking forward to Tennessee in the third Saturday. And also our buddies with Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. And now that this show is over, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Pour one of those in a Yuengling and celebrate Alabama and Ole Miss. Talk to us after the game, guys. Thanks for watching. This was the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. Roll Tide.